Carbitrage Podcast, episode 187. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Zanetsky. Hello, sir.
Hi.
I definitely started this just to catch you off guard.
No, that's all right.
Perfect.
I wonder if the sun during sunset shines into your refrigerator, and that's why all these glass
Probably.
bottles are skunked.
Could be.
Does this porter taste awful?
I know when we have the Heineken in there and we leave it in the box, it survives really well. But yeah.
I think I might. Are you cool if I ditch this and get something that isn't skunked? I'll just
drink one of your beers. It's fine.
My beers
That's why you brought beer.
are still warm. I'll enjoy this because if I
As
plug
soon
my
as we
nose,
get
it
more
tastes fine.
patrons on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Carbitrage,
We can tint a refrigerator door.
you guys can
won't
buy
skunk all our beer.
Ryan beer instead of me.
Well,
Head on over to
I do have my own beers.
patreon.com/Carbitrage.
I was really excited for my short pants, but it's still warm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, they weren't pre-chilled? That's a bummer.
No, they weren't because I had them next to my computer because I didn't want to put them in my refrigerator.
The solution is always take the worst beer in the fridge, which will always be perfect.
That's true. Well, here I am.
That's how I go. Rocking like a hurricane. Anyway, I'm drinking a Coors Banquet. There it is.
I'm drinking what was once a Great Northern Porter by Summit. Actually, to be fair, it's a Summit, so this could just be normal.
I mean, they're unique. I don't remember being offended by drinking one, so it's possible it's turned a bit.
Most things that Summit makes offend me.
I am well aware.
Yeah, they're one of my least favorite breweries.
Yeah, but they're they're Minnesota OG since we don't have Rock Bottom anymore.
I guess, but I mean, like, just because it's old doesn't mean it's good.
It's just like, yeah, just because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, I'll hop right into topics.
I'll enjoy my Oldsmobile Trofeo.
So remember in the world of 2020, before the coronavirus pandemic was really known to us?
The whole month we had.
We had 2 months, pretty much. January, February.
We had a month where we were worried about going to war with Iran, and then we had a February, which was anxiety about China having COVID, and then March happened.
Okay, so my recollection of the thing was a little bit different, I guess. So in the end of...
Yeah, I bet you totally forgot about the fact we almost went to war with Iran before COVID.
Yeah, I didn't care because I don't look at the news. At the end of January into the beginning of February, I was down in Austin, Texas for Fully Charged Live.
Yes, I do remember that.
I saw a Rivian R1S and an R1T in the flesh. I'm like, that is super cool. Their motors are awesome. Their tech's awesome. Their build quality is very conscious and very good. However, even though they have a factory, they have patents, they have all this technology, they're ready to make their stuff, they're not actually building these things yet.
Why?
I think I have an answer for this, and that is because their first 100,000 vehicles are going to be vans.
That's very cool. I like vans.
It's a happy-looking van, and unfortunately...
I like vans, and I like being happy.
It's going to be for Amazon.
That's fine.
They're branded as such, but Rivian, look how happy its
cute
face
that is. I want that. I'm so excited for 5 years from now when those are all retired from fleet so I can buy one.
It had a better front picture, but it's like a Honda Urban EV you
It
made
really
love
is.
to a Sprinter.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
So adorable. I look forward to the Amazon Prime people running down my "Don't turn around" sign as they're turning around in my driveway.
I'm so excited for this
cute van.
adorable van.
How can you be mad when something like that turns up to deliver your shit?
This is wonderful.
So
I love this so much.
100,000 of these have been ordered by Amazon.
Perfect. That means there's a very reasonable likelihood I will actually buy one of these one day.
Perfect. They have a 150-mile range, which means roughly 115 kilowatt hours of battery.
Tremendous. That would be perfect for living in the inner city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just leave it plugged in and live in it with all this cargo space.
Dude, I'm going to just paint a wizard on it and an ethereal goat and some lady with her boobs out.
Perfect.
On the side, it's be
I mean,
awesome.
that is a mural. It is rectangular.
It is perfect for van murals. That is great.
It has Amazon branded center caps.
It has like half covered wheel arches, like on a bubble Caprice. Very cool.
Oh, it does have skirted rear wheels.
Yes.
Oh,
very
yeah.
cool. This is a great van.
It's a B-body van.
I'm excited to get this and ruin it by lowering it.
But it's going to be good too, because I'm sure it'll have the same motor package as the R1T and the R1S, which is awesome.
Yes.
It's probably going to be offered in all-wheel drive for climates like us. Maybe not though.
And by the time I can afford one, I'll probably be able to get some really cheap new Tesla battery packs where they do the high amperage whatever thing that
Yeah,
they're doing now.
to upgrade the cells or whatever.
Yeah, the upgraded cell thing.
Oh, it's gonna be so sweet. But like,
It's
just
perfect.
look how happy he
I'm
is.
excited for this vehicle. This is so great. Also,
It's just out
this-
there doing a good job.
this is more proof that cars with larger upright windscreens are just better because they're so adorable.
You know the visibility in that's gonna be epic.
Well, it's gonna be amazing looking forward. Terrible in the rear, but look amazing looking forward.
I'll have a camera on the back.
That's fine. But I mean, I love that. I'm gonna get this. And I'm gonna get like a Corona and like a Model 3 and a Toyota Publica, and just have cars with ridiculously sized like windshields. I'm so excited.
Pedestrians that you're running down can see everything on your dash.
Oh, the whole thing, all of it, my cat and everything.
Oh, it'd be so cute if there was a cat.
It would be great. I'm so excited. Now, speaking of things that we can drive, we have a
Yes.
challenge.
Yes, we do.
Our challenge today is it's getting about that time of the year that we start thinking about winter turds.
Yeah, I've been sketching down on paper where I need to keep various cars to fit everything inside,
Yeah.
and I'm one space short, so I'm really digging through to try to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do.
For which car?
Blubsky, because I'm losing Stillwater essentially this year because they're selling it in February. So I think I'm
Wow.
gonna put it in my home garage, and then I'm gonna have to deal with the LSB, which I'll probably just end up keeping here in the lift.
LSB?
That car.
Oh, you're gonna second blue. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
That's a good
I
decision.
have too many M3s.
Yeah,
so
you have to go by color.
Yep.
I understand that. You could just say E46.
LSB is easier for me.
That's your only E46.
Yeah, but LSB is 3 syllables and E46 is 4.
Well, yeah, but then we say LSB, I think of LSP, which is Lumpy Space Princess from Adventure Time.
I'm actually totally fine with that.
Okay. It is blue like Lumpy
That
Space
car
Princess.
is the Lumpy Space Princess.
We should get a big like gold star to put on it somewhere, just like Lumpy
we
Space
could not
Princess.
do that though.
Anyway, so winter turds. When I buy a winter car, usually buy something that I'm gonna sell later. Something that I get a screaming deal on.
Sure.
I'm gonna enjoy it for winter, and then sell it just like I did with my MR2 and my other things.
Yeah, but you regretted selling that car deeply.
Yes, I did. Still do. But I've got room for another regret, and here we are. So I'm keeping it below $3,000 because that's reasonable. Yeah, you can get a decent car. You're not gonna care about it. Anything over $3,000, you start getting to a point where you're actually gonna care about the car, and you're not gonna want to drive it in winter, right?
Right.
So $3,000 or less. My choice is a Renault GTA.
Did you realize that this was listed 2 years ago in Hopkins, Minnesota, and they never took down the ad?
No,
Okay.
but here we are.
It might still be available.
It probably is. Anyway, it's a 1987 Renault GTA. I think they called it a Renault.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they totally misspelled it.
Renueld.
Wow, that is amazing.
Renault.
It's a Renault GTA, and it's basically a hardtop Alliance. And what's very cool about this, if it is still available, it's front-wheel drive, which is fine. Kind of looks like an E30.
It does.
It looks a lot like an E30.
When I pulled up this really tiny picture, which screw you, Marketplace, I'm like, oh, it's an E. Oh.
Yeah, no, it's not an E30. It just looks like an E30. It's a pretty cool car. Very, very massive reliability issues.
Oh,
with it.
yes, yeah.
Huge fit and finish, build quality, everything issues. But you know what? I work from home. The grocery store is literally a block away from me, and the Target is a block and a half away from me. So I don't think I'm going to be affected if it breaks down.
I was gonna say running some of the time will work for you.
Yes, that works. Yeah, it's one of those things. If I was driving from St. Louis Park to Good Karma like it was last year, and like I had to drive a car every day, I don't know about that. But for this one, I'm gonna drive a car maybe once a week,
If it lets you.
if it lets me.
If it lets
And
you.
then I can also move those trips around for when the car feels like running. So that's fine. And it's a Renault GTA, so nobody's gonna steal it.
Well,
so
the
I
GT,
can just.
I think the GTA
It doesn't matter.
was a soft top version.
No,
wasn't it?
that was the Alliance.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know what the difference is, nor do I care.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good.
It's an 80s Renault. It might run.
No, it's an 80s Renault.
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 But yeah, so with this car, if it starts up and it runs, and I'm afraid of it not starting back up, I can just keep it running in the Target parking lot because nobody's going to steal it.
You're trusting a French cooling system from the 1980s?
No, not at all. But
it's winter, I guess, so maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah, it might be.
Air cooled
sometimes.
Weld some fins onto the
Bitchin'. I literally want that car.
Trans Am.
350 GTA.
Yeah, great.
In the color I want. Oh my god, the thing is so fucking rad. Oh, I would cut my hair into a mullet and have a mustache and pit vipers if I had that.
1987 Motor Week just drove by.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Ryan's very happy.
I'm so happy.
So
literally, it's my dream F-body.
We've got this Reynolds posted 2 years ago, which might still be available.
I assume it is because nobody wants it.
Did that actually say that it ran?
Yes, it did.
Oh, nice.
I actually did read that. I didn't read the date.
Okay.
Because I posted that like 2 o'clock in the morning.
No worries. I'm going to click on mine again because I clicked on it the first time and it immediately hijacked me into an ad.
Perfect.
I made an even worse decision, which is
Oh, is that a V12?
an all-there 1983 Jaguar XJS for $2,800.
Is it a V12?
It is.
Oh, man. It's all there in those
It's
valves.
actually in pretty good shape.
I wonder if it runs, though. Does it run?
He said it turns over, but it doesn't run.
So
it needs Mega Squirt real bad.
it needs a Mega Squirt.
But these are Turbo 350s and the 5.3, so
Worst
if you
case
put Mega Squirt on it, it'll run.
Also,
and the rear-wheel drive.
worst case scenario, if the V12 is grenaded, you just put in literally any van engine ever, and you're fine.
But like, it looks pretty okay, and it's $2,800 or best offer
And
listed 16 weeks ago
You will absolutely look like a hero if you were driving that on a regular basis
in the winter. Yeah,
Because I actually wrote when I was still selling Subarus, I actually wrote an article for Randy's blog about
Victory and Reseda.
Yeah, about a XJ12 that I saw on the highway in the middle of winter. This man's my hero. Like in the middle of winter when I'm all depressed, I saw a beautiful machine. It is terrible and beautiful.
They're not bad if you bypass all of the factory electronics.
Yeah, seriously, you literally have to rewire the entire
But
car.
the mechanicals are good.
Except for the cylinder head issue.
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, this engine had been around for like 8 years at this time.
If you overheat it once,
Yeah.
the valve seats literally fall out of the cylinder head.
It's like a Pentastar what's the van? Grand Caravan. Same thing.
So the valve seats literally fall out of the cylinder
That's
head, and you smash all the valves.
That's fine. It says it turns over. It means it hasn't happened yet.
Yes, you're right.
Pull the thermostat out. You're good.
Also, yeah, like it's not like you're screwed. It's not like you don't have 100 disposable cars. You can just drive the
Put a small block in, like you said. So
yeah, take the 355 to work for a few days while you're doing that. It's a good winter car.
I won't be doing that. Yeah, but 2,800 is way too high. But
no,
the tires on that look like that car's been sitting for like 30 years.
You could show up to that man's life with $800 in your pocket, and he'll probably let you take it.
Probably.
Yeah.
And 16 weeks ago. What's that? 4 months?
That will give you enough time to sort it out before winter too, I think.
Just throw a carburetor on it. Done.
A carburetor.
Single carburetor.
A single
Like a
carburetor.
Solex 16 or something. And it's just screaming at idle. It sounds like you're on the shore of Lake Superior with an open Coke bottle.
Just like one solitary Stromberg carburetor.
Yup.
There is a train coming by. Look. There he goes.
I still do the blow your horn motion to the pickup trucks with the squeaky wheels.
It was a pickup truck with squeaky wheels. It was inspecting the railroad.
I miss trains. I hope they come back soon. The world's slowly returning to normal. Every time I patronize a facility, they get gradually more relaxed and open.
Well, since they're returning to normal, but it's like...
While we're having the highest number of exposures ever.
Yeah,
Pretty
like
smart.
I think it's it's really like August 1929. It feels like
Stock market crash?
right before it.
Ah, cool.
A few months like if you ever wanted to be like alive, is you want to be about 27 in August 1929 and die in a horrific car accident in September 1929, and then you're good.
What was the cryptocurrency of 1929?
Stocks. And that's what everybody had, and they all lost their shirts. So that's my thing. Just if you time travel to.
So you're saying it's a really good time to buy an XJS that doesn't run?
Yes, it's a tremendous time. It's basically going to be like having a Duesenberg and drunk driving in August 1929.
It was probably legal in 29.
Yeah, that wasn't illegal. Oh my god, I forgot to add all of my topics.
Oh, that's fine. I got one more while I do this, which is
Smashing.
not going to take long. So this morning, I actually got called from Bill Gustafson. You know him.
Oh yeah, I'm from high
He
school.
called me. I was groggy as shit in my bed at like 8:30 in the
Why
morning.
did he call you?
I have no clue. Usually when people call me, it's an emergency, so I answer my phone.
What the hell?
He's like, hey, bud, do you want to... My friend and I just bought an E92 M3. We're going to go river road driving. You want to come with? I'm like, yeah, actually, that sounds like a good time. I'm like, I got to be back by like 11:30 to Chanhassen, but I'll come with you guys. So I met up with them down at Prescott, and I led them through a couple of the letter roads, and we did about 100 miles of river road driving.
That's actually sounds like a great morning drive.
It was lovely.
And what kind of car do you get?
I had the 850 because I thought Drive Cartel's meet was yesterday, and it turns out it's this coming Friday.
They have a meet
it's a
happening?
mini meet, yeah.
Oh.
It was on Facebook.
I didn't look.
Thought it was yesterday, but it wasn't. So I had the 850 at my house. I'm like, well, I'll just drive this. That car is really great. The steering box is starting to get a little bit of play on center, but other than that, it's fun.
Like all 90s cars have steering gear?
I thought so until I bought the E39 M5, and that thing is just tight as a drum. So I think the box is wearing out in the 850. But I digress. That car is amazing. I've had it forever. It turns out to be really reliable. But I have an agreed value insurance policy on it, and I, unfortunately, every time I go on Bring a Trailer and I see a car similar to mine selling for substantially more than I have my car insured for, realize that I have to update my policies and premiums every year, which means I'm going to end up paying more in insurance every year, which I don't really like. But this no frills 93 850i 6-speed, black on black, so okay, but certainly not inspired, factory non-lightweight wheels, very low option car, but 37,000 miles, sold for 41 grand.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
not a CSI. This
It's
is
just
a
a
regular
normal one,
850
yeah.
6-speed.
I remember seeing this when it was live, and I just didn't look.
I'm just like, I followed it because like it's so similar to my car, but I'm like, I really thought this was gonna go for like 31 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these cars in really great condition. I still don't know if mine is worth even 31, but 103,000 miles is basically ruined, you know.
Yeah.
But all the mods I've done on my car are OEM or the stuff that this thing has had done to it, and it's,
I think,
in my
honestly,
opinion, the best color combination. So
your car, you could probably pull that for, because that's the thing is, like, while your car isn't low mile, it's got a lot going for it. A lot of people like drivers. A lot of people like cars that are sorted out. So I've actually seen on some of my listings, I've actually had higher mile cars that have complete service records sell for way more than super low mile cars.
yeah.
Because people buy them to enjoy them. Like, I had a Miata. It was super weird. Like, it was a red one. It was repainted red, had a black racing stripe, and a cargo cover. And, like, the selling dealer decided they wanted to rattle can spray paint the entire undercarriage. But, like, it had, like, decent service records to it. Sold for $7,800.
Holy shit!
Like, that's like good Miata money. Like,
Yeah.
And this is like, I saw this car. I was writing it. And I was like watching how the sellers interacting. I'm like, this guy's gonna have a rough time. And the car was like, seriously, like it was stalled at $3 grand, up until the last 2 minutes.
Well, yeah.
In the last 2 minutes, took 45 minutes.
Kind of how that happens.
And
though.
but that's the thing is, like, it's one of those cars where as soon as people like saw that the car was a good driver car, it sold for more than everything. And then at the same time, I also had a British Racing Green M Edition that was selling, because that's literally how many Miatas we have. We sell like 4 of them at a time. I had a British Racing Green M Edition that I'd also written, and that actually sold for less money, and it had...
That's more original, I'm guessing, right?
It had, like, I think 20,000 miles, like 24,000 miles, as opposed to, like, 81. And it had minimal service records, but it was, like, it was the most desirable one. The BBS wheels and everything, the right color.
Like 94 or whatever?
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just one of those things where it's just, like, if you get a driver's car, it'll actually sell for more than non-drivers cars.
The first time I clicked on this link, I scrolled down to the last of the featured photos where it's
Yeah.
on the lift. This has Kumo X to ASX tires on it. These were discontinued 12 years ago.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. So this car has not been driven. And to your point, people probably know that and know that this car is going to need a lot of TLC in the near future if they're planning to drive it.
Yeah.
Whereas I put 200 miles on mine today. So
You
it's
know
one of
it's
those
going to
things,
be
like,
like a good driving car.
yeah, like everything it needs has been done to it. Like I can't let these things wither on the vine.
And I think that that's a that kind of is just like a really good thing. Is like if you have a car, it's like I think if you were, and so Brand Trailer, we note mileage if your car is under 50,000 miles. If you're at 51,000 miles, we're not noting it. But if you're under 50, I think if your car has 51,000 miles or more, enjoy it. Like take it out and drive it.
Well, it depends on the car, but
get your
yeah.
service done on it. Do all that. But I mean, that's the thing is like with a lot of these cars, like
I think it should be under 60 is when you guys do the cutoff. As for me,
Yeah.
there's really like 4 groups of mileage. There's 13 and under.
yeah.
There's 37 and under to over 15, and then there's 60 and under. Because there's, God damn it, the kind of stuff that I shop for, those are the mileage ranges that matter.
Yeah.
And then over 100, a little bit, but not really.
I think, there's another thing is like on Brand Trailer, I think we should also note cars have ridiculous mileage.
Yeah, like 438k mile E36 M3.
Yeah, like that would be perfect. I would totally note that. That'd be hilarious.
Be great. The person's probably proud of it. Like, look how nice this car is.
Yeah, well, what's like Matt Farah's million
LS?
mile Lexus? Yeah, like that would be a car that you would sell for, you would sell based off the ridiculous mileage. But like also like I had actually a LS 400, a 5400 mile car, 5400 mile LS 400, literally the most reliable car. That car will outlive whoever buys that car.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're like 16 years old and buying this as their first car, this will outlive them. So that's the thing is like, I think there's like actually a point in which the mileage of a car like is just like irrelevant.
Yeah.
And where I think like dude, just enjoy the car. Like this LS 400, like 5,400 miles. The mileage the car sold for 22.5.
That seems pretty reasonable for a brand new LS.
And that's the thing is like the mileage didn't affect that car at all. Like what the reason it sold for 22.5 is that it was like probably like the world's cleanest like first generation LS 400. It's the very last year, the last full model year, I should say, of the first generation LS 400 before when they still had the large connecting rods.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know the 400 carried on into the second gen, right before they did the 430.
Yes. So they had technically the first and second gen LS 400 were almost identical, but the second gen had a lot of like quality of life improvements for like the late 90s. Because the first gen was like very much so a car designed in 1989. Like it felt like it, but like the second gen is like this car is obviously designed in 1995. So if you know what I mean, like
I actually do.
everything looks the same, but it's just like the touch of the buttons is different. What the things do, the CD player exists, things like that.
It's unfortunately Lexus having set the bar so high in '89, and then the world evolving around the first gen LS.
Seriously,
then they
that's
had to one-up
literally what they had to
themselves.
do, and they just didn't change anything. They just made the car better, and then they made the engine a little bit cheaper, but still plenty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when BMW made the first dual overhead cam straight six. They put like these mammoth rods that nobody could ever break. They put 9mm valve stems in these things, dual valve spring. Like everything was just ridiculous. The next year, single conical valve springs, smaller forged connecting rods, and like it didn't matter.
No, it's still super reliable.
Like they still made, you could still make 600 horse on a stock short block with the shittier.
Ooh, look at this! What a guy! But it's one of those things where, like, when you have a car that's like that, you're not going to sell it based off the mileage. You're going to sell it based off the fact that that super low mileage makes a car super duper clean, and that's what really matters about the car.
Well, it does, but like that kind of mileage is really only desirable. It really is only desirable for a collector on a collector vehicle. And like an LS400 is an amazing car.
I think what's difficult with this car is like every second you have it, because you're not going to really depreciate it, but you have to sit there and you're feel guilty by just using it, you know?
What I would do if I bought that car is I would find somebody that drives for a living and I would give them that car and promise to pay for all of the maintenance on it.
I think it's actually a really good decision.
Turn this car into a million-mile Lexus. I want to see what happens.
You know what? I think I would actually do that. I'd make that into a company car and be like, this car is solely used for not using airplanes. Actually, you know what? If you are a reporter or somebody or an automotive journalist or my editor from Japanese Nostalgia Cars' wife, where she has to commute from Los Angeles to New York for work.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. She should buy this car.
Does she drive that drive?
No.
Okay. I'm like, dude, I would quit so fast. The
She's
cushiest job in the world. No, thank you.
She makes enough money for it to be okay. Let's just say that. I'm not going to get into it.
I believe you, because the people that commute in airplanes need to make that kind of money.
It's a commute. So, but yeah, and so this would be a perfect car for somebody like that. Like
That's what I would do. Like, the world already has the time capsule LSs in museums. Like,
Yeah,
this
they
car
exist.
doesn't need to survive.
This car needs to be used, and I think it would actually be super interesting to say, you know what?
Document the whole thing.
I bought this car at 5,400 miles, and I'm gonna put 4 more digits in front of it. Like, this is gonna be perfect.
Farrah's car, he bought it with like 932.
Yeah, he just
like, you don't
had
know
to-
anything
he had
about.
he had to tip it over the hill.
Yeah.
Like this one, you can actually do like a scientific study of what it takes to actually have a LS400. And you know what you could do? The best part would be, let's try to maintain the condition.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would
Make
do.
it, keep it that. But highway miles, it'd be easy.
Yeah, I would totally try to maintain the condition and be like, this car is perfect all the way down.
Clear bra the entire thing.
Literally, the whole car is a
The
clear
whole
bra.
car.
Yeah.
Including the wheels.
Yes. Like clear bra, everything.
Clear bra the alternator, so the power steering pump leaking onto it won't destroy it.
Yes, and bring it in for your oil changes at 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Bring it in. Don't do it yourself. Bring it in because
Paperwork.
and some boob actually has to look over the car and try to get some work out of it. And that's the thing, is like...
That's true, because they're going to try to upsell you no matter what you do.
And that's a beautiful thing, because
Yeah.
that allows you to see
Tells
everything
you,
that's wrong with the car. So
Like the time I took my X5 to Eurotech for some coding, and they're like, it needs $9,000 in parts. I'm like,
I bet it does, but anyway.
no, I just changed half of that.
So yeah, I think this would be a perfect car to actually just like put ridiculous miles on, because you could totally do this. And
I think Matt Farah's Lexus would have been far more interesting had it been a lower mile car when he started.
trust me, we're not saying that's not an interesting car.
No, it's a
that's
great
super
car.
interesting.
And,
But
like-
it would be even better if this was the car.
And what he had to spend to get it over that amount of mileage was impressive, but the previous owners didn't care as much, clearly.
Yeah, and this car. So what's actually beautiful about this is this LS400, on top of being super low miles, was actually owned originally by an engineer who designed the car.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
So the car's like super cool already.
And it has some provenance.
Yeah, it's got some provenance. So yeah, make this a million-mile Lexus on top of it. Just add that to its like list of accolades already.
The most interesting first-gen LS in the
Yeah,
world is
this-
the one with the most miles. on
Yes,
it.
that's what you do. You get this as high as it can go. You clear that odometer twice.
Well, you can't.
I know.
It jams at 99999.
Yes, it does.
Okay. But now we know. Thank you, Matt Farah.
Yeah, you found that out.
But anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to reevaluate. I don't know what I'm going to change the valuation on my 852 next year, but I think I have it at 27 right now, and
Ooh,
I think that's
really
too
low.
low.
I go,
Probably do like 32.
as I say, 32. I originally was going to say 35, but yeah, 32 is right in the nuts. So yeah, 35 to 32, somewhere in there.
If I had it detailed, it's a $35,000 car, but the way I live in that thing when I drive it, 32.
You could make it a $35,000 car
Easily.
with $1,000.
Probably less.
Well, I'm being liberal, so you can budget for
It
it.
would be a pair of front tires and a really, really deep clean.
Yeah. Like you just leave it with hip for like a week, and then you you get tires, and that's it.
And it's just like, I want your car now.
Yeah, and then hip will get a 840 like
Oh, no.
drift car.
That would be interesting.
Actually, no. Knowing hip, he'd probably get a right-hand drive 830 or 850 CSI. And then,
No, he's got to get a right-hand drive 830i 5-speed, and then LS.
did that exist? Did they make a 6-cylinder?
No,
Perfect.
V8, 3-liter V8.
Weird. Yes.
In the 90s, BMW's 3.0s were V8s.
Okay, yes. Hip would do that. He would totally do that. And Brian didn't import it. He'd be like, I don't know why you want this. And Hip's
Or
like,
he'd
I don't
turn
know
on the
either.
3-liter, yeah. I thought about, okay, so we probably didn't talk about this, but, briefly. So, storage for Blubsky is a problem this year.
Yes, it is.
I told Scott, I will store it at my house this winter, but in the spring you either need to list it somewhere and sell it, or sign the title to me and I will do something else with it. So in the spring, I don't know which way he'll go. He'll probably just sign the car over to me.
Probably.
But I'm not leaving that engine in there if I get the car. I'm putting something else in it.
Okay.
So my choice is like, okay, I'm putting something I know. I know how it works, I can power it, how I can fire it up. I know it has a manual available. So I'm like, well, do I put a mid-90s BMW V8 with a manual in it before the V8s got shitty? Do I S54 swap it? Do I put an N54 in it?
It needs to have a V8.
So I guess it would have to be the BMW V8.
Yeah, do the BMW V8. What are you going to do with the M117?
Sell it hopefully to somebody that wants to ruin their 115 with an automatic.
Or improve their 560 SCC with correct fuel injection.
Yeah. I mean, if you put that EFI setup onto a 126, it would make more power.
I would actually be very excited to own a 126 with that engine. That would be very good.
I mean, that engine is from a really, really bad 126, but I bought it so long ago, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it really
like,
didn't matter.
After I pulled like the valve covers and the pan off, I'm like, this looks really clean. This did not have many miles on it. Like whoever rattle canned that thing two-tone.
I remember that is one of
paint.
Literally that 126 looked like the Nigerian Princess 126. Like the dude that sends you emails, that's what he drives.
It was so bad.
And
it was such a clean one. You could tell like there's no rust on the entire car.
Oh yeah, it was owned by a complete chode. Just somebody with no taste owned it and ruined it.
And it was less than 20 years old when I bought it too.
Oh my god.
I bought it in 06, I think.
It feels weird.
Yeah, right?
I feel really weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
It ran really well. Like the interior was all destroyed. Like I drove it home in the winter. The steering box had more play in it than a moon. So I'm like just like shuffling the wheel like 2 locks over just to try to like steer it down the road. The heated seats worked, but nothing else. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay. It was really bad. That car was so screwed.
I would honestly, I think that'd be a perfect, at least if you sell that engine, keep the fuel injection system and just sell the long block.
No way.
Damn it.
I'm like, I'll have the files to like do it again.
Perfect. Yes, as long as you have the files, that's all I want. Because what I want to do, I don't have money for it right now, is I want to make a Koenig Specials clone. Because they sell the body kits. I want to get I want to get a 126 that's a bit shit. Like, the body's good, but like, you know.
Get like a really high miles SD, like a 350 SD.
That'd be hilarious.
Well, like that, if it still has the original engine, it will break at some point because all the 350s did. And then you'll just have a nice 126 chassis.
Yes. But so what I would want to do, well, I want to get to the SCC because Cocaine Mobile. And so what I want to do is you get one that just like has like catastrophic CIS issues, but everything else is good.
All of them?
Yeah. So, but everything else is good, and that will totally get you into like a $4,000 car, like easily, for one that's super clean with CIS issues that just hasn't been cared for properly.
Yeah, especially if it's like the kind of car that somebody doesn't look for, like a gray market 85 500 SEC.
Yeah. And with fuel injection issues, and you just pull off all of the fuel injection, and
that
then
was one of the most satisfying things I ever did to that engine.
It was very nice to be in that when it didn't have that fuel injection.
I've built this, and it's considerably better.
It really was. Like that engine is so much better. It just tears apart transmissions.
It does. It makes a lot of power.
Well, you're running it off. Aren't you running off the original diesel transmission though?
Nope. No, it's been through. I mean, the 420 and the 560 had the same trans, but
okay.
It's a 722 350, so...
I'm surprised that transmission can't hold that. So I wonder how...
They're 126 V8 trannies.
I'm wondering, because Koenig Specials back in the 80s actually made, like, bananas power on those cars. Like, you get, like, 600 horsepower on them.
Well, I mean, the 4-cam cars, the Hammers and stuff, use the same transmission.
So how
they don't like revs.
How did they...
They don't like revs.
They just don't like spinning quickly?
No.
Weird.
But burnouts necessitate spinning quickly. And that car does great burnouts.
It's just so odd. It's just like
my coworker speculates that the flex plate is bad. I'm like, well, I have a spare one because I have another 117 in my garage, which I've never used.
Why don't you just replace the flex plate next time you do
I'm gonna.
Huh. You're gonna have to.
Well, yeah. He's like, maybe it's cracked. I'm like, I had a cracked flex plate on my Chevy one time, and it kept destroying pumps. I'm like, oh, that's what this car's doing.
Yeah, it could be a cracked flex plate.
That would make sense.
Maybe you'll replace the flex plate, and then you'll just have like a super reliable car. Because like
I don't think I want it the way it is though.
I really like that car the way it is. It's so perfect.
It's so shitty, but the internet will be so angry if we get rid of it.
You really have to keep it that way. I'm sorry, there's other 240Ds in the world.
I will say with confidence, this is the only M117 powered 115 in the world.
Seriously, you have to keep it that way. You have to get another car, and Blubsky has to stay as it is.
Oh, it's such like
I'm
one of the few people, obviously, that understands that car. But
that's the thing is, like, you have made a hot rod using just Mercedes parts, which is the most hilarious thing. Like, all the way down to the exhaust and the AMG exhaust.
That car is just an early 63 AMG. That's all it is.
That's all you've made, is you've just made a very early...
But it's a mule. So, like, none of the cooling is sorted out. None of the issues
great.
have been solved
I love
yet.
it. Like, that's the way it should be. Like,
I should wrap it with, like, some 80s-looking Mercedes-Benz development car graphics.
You should look up their 70s. They were, like, late 70s S car that they made. But, like, they made... So, after the Big Red Pig... Actually, you should make that a little Red Pig.
No, there's already a guy local with that small
lame.
block, wide body one.
Yeah, but that's a wide body one. Yours is a narrow body and way smaller.
I know that's like a mother's love, but I so much prefer Blubsky to that car.
That's fair. Well, I prefer Blubsky to a lot of things.
Well, because Blubsky has a Mercedes engine in it.
And Blubsky's hilarious.
Yeah, it's so shitty. It's
you went through so much effort to do what just an LS would do.
Not even. The engine's not as good.
No.
It's just not. Like, you could... Like, a stock LS with headers and an intake makes more power than this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Before you found the Jegs catalog in your drawer.
No, this is like the... What's the super small? Like a 4.7 liter, 4.6 or something?
4.8.
Yeah, 4.8 LS. It's like a 4.8 LS stock cam. Except it sounds really hairy. It doesn't sound like a stock cam. LS. It sounds rowdy.
The engine doesn't really sound like any other V8. I don't know why.
It's one of my favorite sounding engines. Like, that's actually... The sound of Blubsky is why I like the 560 SEC so much. Because on top of being a cocaine mobile, like, I can totally just make all the hot rod noises I want. Like, I can just, like, idle through my neighborhood playing Hot for Teacher, like, through my exhaust pipes.
But the thing is, with CIS, it sounds nothing the same. Because it's like... I have video of it somewhere when I cut the exhaust off of the 126 downer. And it's just, like, super smooth. There's no pop to it at all.
Oh,
it's just like a really lazy... It sounds like a really hopped up flathead when it's stock.
Very cool. But I like it the way it is. I like the fact that it shoots flames and it pops and crackles. It's great. And it doesn't do anything very efficiently.
But I think it would be better with the BMW V8 and a manual.
Better and more good are two different things. And we've talked about this several times.
At length, yes. Almost all car publications have.
And your car is very good right now, and it would be better, but would be less good.
I make no qualms about it. If I could get somebody to make me a flywheel for that damn thing and an adapter plate, I have no issue with the 117. It's a great engine.
Todd, I'm sure Trig can do something. You gotta have him help you.
Every time somebody even lightly alludes to the fact that they might know somebody or they are the person, like, I have an engine, I have a transmission, I have a clutch kit.
Show up in front of his house.
I will mail them anywhere in the country.
This
Make me the parts I need.
This is how you get Trig to work. You show up at his house when he's there with the stuff, and then you don't leave until he's begun work. Then you come back a following day and make him continue to work on it.
That sounds like too much work. I don't want to do that.
You're not doing anything. You're working remotely from home using his internet in his living room. And he's making that for you. And then when you're done with it, you give him a bag of money. And that's all you have to do.
Well, the thing is, I want 8 to 10 of these. Because I know that the setup cost is everything. And I know there's a lot of people out there with some really cool old Mercedes that hate automatics as much as I do.
I feel like you could probably, if you let him have the rights to that, he would to like the intellectual property rights of his design.
Fine.
Yeah, he will probably make it, and then just make a whole bunch of them.
I'm pretty sure whoever does this will need a CNC mill, though. Like, I don't even
he's
know
a
if he can do
machinist.
it with a Bridgeport or anything.
He's literally a machinist by trade.
Okay, great.
So yeah, he has.
I've asked him before. He said, I don't know. He's like, oh yeah, if you can Like, I can make you the drawings. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what I do for a living, like, or did at the time. Like, I can make the drawings. That's not a problem. But I need somebody to make me the parts. Like, I even have photos of the old AMG flywheel that they made back in the day for the 265.
It's very frustrating.
Like, it's really annoying. I'm like, there's a guy that did it like 10 years ago, and he took an auto, cut the bell housing off with a bandsaw, and he just made an aluminum plate.
That's how I would do.
And then made a flywheel for it.
That's exactly what I would do.
I would make an adapter plate, and I would use the cheaper, much better 530i manual V8 trans out of the Midnight. Because it's a ZF, so they hold like 1 trillion horsepower, and they're a nickel.
But I mean, like, as far as making an adapter plate goes, that shouldn't be too hard.
No.
Like, you don't even need a...
The starter ears are in the right spot on that trans. So all you have to do, it would be, the flywheel's the kicker.
So, all right, well, the flywheel, yeah, that's the kicker. All you need to do is make a flywheel.
Somebody already makes an adapter plate for that engine for a CD009, but I inquired. They don't make a flywheel for it. Why? Explain to me that.
1 second. If you got a steel flywheel, could you cut the center section out of the flex plate and then just... I wonder if you can get like a flywheel blank for it.
You'd probably have to find a flywheel that's like the right diameter, but the problem... Like, you need the starter ring gear to be right, which, not a problem, because it's a bolt-on piece on the automatic, so you can just bolt it onto a flywheel you make. But usually, like, the bolt circle would have to be so much smaller or so much bigger, where you could make a steel plate that fills in those half moons, and you re-drill the old flywheel, too. I've been told that the Ford modular flywheel bolt pattern is almost identical to the 117 pattern.
Try it.
No, because none of the flywheels are the right size, so it doesn't matter. Like, oh great, I bolted a flywheel onto it and I bolted a clutch on. Splines won't be right, no pilot bearing, starter's not going to engage.
That's a good point. You can crank start it.
No. I mean, that would fit well with that car, but...
That would be very on brand for that car.
So anyway, I'm thinking BMW V8.
I would say you have to stick them 117 and tough it out. Dude, this car's already been ruining your life for almost half of your life.
It's not even my car.
I know. Your brother's car's already been ruining your life for almost half of your life. Just complete it. Just finish it up.
I just want somebody to say, sure, Eric, no problem. We do that kind of stuff all the time.
Money is not the problem.
No, everyone, like, they come back to me. They're like, even if they do that kind of thing, they're like, it's going to be expensive. I'm like,
okay, cool.
Is it going to cost me more than $8,000 to do 8 of them?
My price point is $8,000.
Like I told him, like, I will spend $8,000 for 8 of these.
Yeah, like once you make one, then you're good. Like, that's fair.
Like,
would you spend $10,000?
I think I'd rather have fewer units for the same amount of money. I don't know if I'd ever want to spend more than $8,000 on it, but.
Well, I was just wondering, because I bet the thing is, all right, this is my thing. When you're trying to get people to do things, that extra digit does help a lot. Because if you say, I will pay $9,999 for this thing, that goes a lot less further than I will give you $10,000.
I will pay 10,000 Canadian dollars as of 2004 for this project.
Okay, I think you can probably do that. I honestly think your best bet would be to just start bothering every machine shop you can think of.
And like Kaztech Engineering over in St. Paul, like, we know that guy really well. They do really high-end engineering products, but like, people are used to engineering around new issues. They're not usually doing, like, I want to find a shop that just makes adapters. Like,
what
the
about
market's huge.
What about Patience Metal Fab? I wonder if they would be able to know somebody.
They can barely weld a cage together. I don't trust them to do machine work.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, it's just, I imagine there's got to be a place in the world that does this.
Well, yes, but where and who?
Yeah, I had the same issue trying to get a 4x140 to 4x114 wheel adapter for my Subaru.
Does that exist?
No. It should be pretty easy to make. Because you're just taking a fucking round thing, you just cut 8 holes in it. Done.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I was going to say, if you had a mill in your garage, you could do that.
No, and I don't, and nobody would make one for me. I was irritated. I'm still irritated by it, and that's why I've quit worrying about the Subaru. So I just get irritated every time I think about it. And I just want to put LS in it, so it's just dumb burnouts and tries to kill me.
Yeah. But the thing is, with an LS, you can get an off-the-shelf manual solution.
That's why I chose that engine.
Yeah, well, I chose the 117 because I have no idea.
You chose the M117 because you were in high school, you're still a German car elitist, and you thought that was a good idea.
I'm like, oh, that's a big, cheap Mercedes V8. Let's shove it in this
Why
car.
would I not use this? It's a great engine.
I'm like, even
it's
at that point,
technically more better.
I looked down on people that did Chevy V8 swaps even back then.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody does, but that's the thing. That's because the only reason I look down on it is because it's lazy.
It's very lazy.
But I understand.
It works really well. And those people are driving their cars and mine's broken. So.
Yes, and that's the thing is, although I look down upon it, I understand. It's like when people...
You're not better than me just because your car runs.
Yeah, it's like when people don't swap into Lycoming do-over cam inline 8. Like, I look down upon it, but I understand it.
What about a replica of a Type 37 engine? Put that in Blubski.
That would be a perfect one. I bet you could actually probably get that for cheaper than $10,000.
Probably.
You should actually reach out to Persang of America and see if they would do that for you. That'd be perfect for Blubski.
This episode of Oval Bore is sponsored by Persing.
Seriously, like that actually, it'd be cheaper than that flywheel would be, and it would make more power than the stock engine. You should actually do that. I'm going to reach out to Persang on your behalf.
All right. Like,
hi, my name is Eric Berger. I'd like to have
I feel like a parent that's reaching out to make a wish for the cancer-ridden child that is Blubski.
Please help me. I just want to put this. I want to swap this engine. Actually, they would probably be about that if you would actually do that.
Probably. Because I have the facilities. I can do it.
Yeah, you totally can. I mean, like in this kind of garage, sort of, like they would see the garage and go
Garage Mahal.
Yeah, your garage would look at it and go, okay, he probably would actually do this. It's not like some dude with a Honda Civic.
Show them the 117 that took $5,000 to get set into that engine bay. Yeah, yes, I will do it.
Yeah, like they would totally be about that. No, like your only thing would be, your one thing is, I just need a flywheel that matches a CD009. That's all I need. And then
I don't even care if it's a period manual transmission. Fine.
I bet you could probably... All right, so if you're going engine and transmission, you could probably get the... I think it's a 3-speed non-synchro mesh gearbox out of the Type 35.
Perfect.
They would actually probably sell it to you. I bet it would probably cost...
A lot.
A lot, but I would be shocked if that was over $25,000 all in.
I would not be into that.
But, I mean, like, realistically, like, I would be... like that's, like, the very highest point that I would ever possibly think that could ever possibly be.
It's got to be a different option that I'm not considering. Oh, the only other thing I've thought of is an M113.
That's from the
96 to 05 V8.
What about...
Because the Crossfire manual transmission bolts right up to that.
You do that. That'd be a good engine.
Because that's a Mercedes engine.
The only thing I would say is if you're doing... What about a V12? Can you fit a V12 in there?
No, even the V8 doesn't fit.
Fuck.
It really doesn't fit. It just is in there.
It doesn't work at all.
Remember when I picked up the car from Tim's when they did the headers, they're like, I've been at this for 33 years and I've never built a set of headers anywhere near that tight. I'm like, all right.
Perfect.
The headers cost more than the car did.
So that was from Tim's
custom exhaust.
Tim's custom exhaust before they were sold and bad. And
yeah.
Actually, now there's a shop called The Marvelous Muffler Man that's apparently really good.
I've heard of that.
So I'm going to be taking the Cressida there.
Do it up.
For an exhaust.
But no, the headers on Blubski are gorgeous. They're like 2 1/4 primary, mild steel, polished ceramic coat tri-wise with like 2.5-inch collectors. I don't know how they fit those in there.
Yeah, I think you should go with the Mercedes V8, the later model V8.
It's a lot cheaper.
Why don't you just do that? Why would you not do that?
Because I really like the 117.
But you like it, you put a lot of effort into it. See, now that you're trying to keep it all Mercedes, I'm not upset.
A 113 is way harder to make run. I have to build an all-new custom EFI system again.
Which stopped you before.
I don't have to do with the BMW engine.
But it's also a BMW engine, not a Mercedes engine. Also, you're not in college anymore, so you have a lot more time. And it's
I don't have more time.
You don't have a girlfriend? What do you have?
Oh, I have other cars that need my help.
Well, yeah, but you can stop working on those for a little bit to work on
your
your other
already
car.
stop working on those.
I would totally do the M113, you said? The M113.
113.
And Blubski, just to keep a V8 and made by Mercedes in it.
I just don't want to deal with engine management.
Or alternatively,
I thought about an M111, the SLK 230 compressor engine.
No.
Inline, though.
Yeah. No. It's not V8.
Cool.
It's not a V8. It's just something. All right, if you're not gonna do a V8, it has to be a inline 4 over 3 liters.
What about like a 944 S2 3-liter inline?
That would
4?
work. Yes, that would.
Too bad nobody ever made a front-mounted manual transmission for one of those. They're all transaxle cars.
Well, that's a bit shit, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So,
never mind.
you could get. I wonder if anybody
Cummins
makes.
4BT, I think.
I wonder if anybody makes a replica of the Blitz and Benz engine.
I'm not doing anything that stupid. I'd rather sell the car.
Because the engine would stick out of the hood.
All right, where were we at? What's your topic? What's this empty topic?
That was the LS thing I talked about. Now we're back onto your topic.
All right. Oh, jeez. So I want to thank God. The rest of the podcast listener group is probably thank you, Eric, for bringing us away from this. Last episode, we talked about, what car should my mom buy? And we briefly touched on the XE Sport Brake.
Yes.
The XE and the XF Sport Brake are getting discontinued at the end of this year, but there are still 20 of them left in dealer inventory in the United States.
That's exactly what your mom needs to buy right now. That'd be a perfect car for her.
I saw one of these on the road the other day. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I didn't even know they made that. I didn't know they made that.
You could get an XF and an XE Sport Brake here.
With
you can go buy one right now.
What engine's in it?
Well, the XE is a 4-cylinder turbo, and the XF is I think a V6.
I'd only be interested if the number.
3-liter V6 supercharged. That one.
I would do the V6 supercharged.
Yeah, but the XF Sport Brake's a big car. It's a 5 Series.
Okay, it's your mother.
Oh god, they're expensive.
How much are they?
Used, they're 40 grand still.
So, how much is your mom's car? Or how much was your mom's car?
More than that.
Okay. This is a perfect car for your mother.
Not perfect, but like these look so good.
I think this would be a great car for your mother.
Well, the web browser's too shit, so I can't actually look at one that's for sale.
This is the thing, is that you're always going to have upcoming electric cars. She gets an electric car. That electric car, by the time she's done with it, is going to be worse than whatever it was replaced by. With this petrol-powered car, you are getting the last of a dying breed. You have a chance to get something great.
But it isn't better than her car.
But it's also not going to be replaced by something that's objectively better by the time it's done being produced. Whereas if your mother gets
there's nothing wrong with her current car, and I'm saying that this isn't better than her diesel M Sport wagon.
Well, I think that you are right.
It's a great car. I think people should go out and buy these because they're gorgeous. And you will never see another one. You just won't.
Quite good.
You want to talk about R63 AMG rarity? You talk about XF Sport Brakes.
I saw a R500 today on the way here. I was very excited.
Oh, yeah.
A non-AMG V8.
The later facelift R-Class is actually like really good.
I really just like the R-Class. So Donut Media actually did a video on like the best minivans. And I was very excited that they mentioned the R-Class on that list, because that is one of the best minivans of all time.
It is. I don't know if I'd really qualify it as a minivan.
It is technically a minivan. That's how it was sold as.
It does have the best third-row seat arrangement and space of any low-roof wagon-type vehicle.
Yeah. It's effectively a minivan.
Yeah.
Like, if you put that next to a first-generation Honda Odyssey, and then you put that next to a Mercedes E-Class wagon.
No sliding doors means no minivan to me.
But the first generation Odyssey, that is objectively a minivan. It did not have sliding doors. I think sliding doors.
I would call it a wagon.
I would call it a minivan. But this is the thing: is although it's a minivan without sliding doors,
that's a minivan.
Yes, it is. It does have sliding doors.
It does.
But sliding doors are not a prerequisite.
I think they are.
Well, would you call a barn door Type 2 not a van? Because it's got barn doors on the sides instead of a sliding door?
A what now?
A Volkswagen Type 2.
Is that like a hippie bus?
Yeah. The early ones had barn doors.
It's not a minivan. It is a van. You could classify the R-Class as a van.
All right, I'll call it a van then.
Okay, that's fine. Yep, that's fine.
So anyway, it was on the best list of best minivans, and I'm very happy that it exists on that list.
The R is great.
More people need to understand just how great the V8 Rs are. The 6-cylinders, a bit shit.
The first couple of years, I'm really glad terrible. In hindsight we didn't get one of those, because those balance shaft things were
pretty awful.
Not good.
Yeah, but the thing is, the V8s don't have that issue, and the V8s are just tremendous, and all they have is just all the other 15-year-old Mercedes problems.
It's because it had an M113, and it was announced in 2006 when that engine basically was dead.
Yes.
Same thing with the first year W164 ML. They sold a 500.
Also, one of the weirdo cars I wrote for Branch Roller is actually an ML V6 but super clean, like 15,000 miles on it.
What year?
2003.
Oh, so a 163.
Yeah.
Oh, ML350.
Yeah, ML350, and it was one of those cars where nobody knew what it was gonna do. They put it on no reserve, and it did like surprisingly well. The guy's like, I'm so excited to have the world's cleanest daily driver.
And like those were kind of the sweet spot because they were a 3.7 liter V6 for some godforsaken reason. So you got like 320 fuel economy, but like almost 430 punch.
Mercedes displacement bothers me because they call a car a 3.6, but it's 3,651 cc's. Yes,
that is a large car transport
with terrible wheels.
Yes, but yeah, like the S600 with the 5.8 V12, and then they went to a 5.5 twin
but
turbo.
then you actually look at what the actual displacement is. It should be rounded up.
It should be, but it wasn't even close.
It's just it's really weird. Like Mercedes you're like people are saying like, oh yeah, Mercedes is just like their numbers mean nothing now. They've always meant nothing.
Yeah, like this isn't new with the turbo engines.
Like this engine would not be eligible in a motorsports class that has a maximum displacement of like 5.3 liters.
Like heritage for Mercedes is rounding up a tenth of a liter.
Yeah,
they do that all the time.
Yeah,
the 560 is a 5.5. The 6.2.
Well, they round down as well. They just round randomly. That's the thing, because most people round up because it makes sense because that's what you're supposed to do. Like a D16 is actually 1,506 cc's or something.
Oh God!
But that's the thing is for motorsports and for like tax purposes, you have to round up. Mercedes is the only brand that rounds down. It's so annoying. So like when I'm like looking at the displacement of a car, like if I'm like writing a listing for like
you're right.
Yeah, like
if
the
I'm GL450 is a 4.7.
Yeah.
The ML350 is a 3.7.
They round down, and even like with CC, so it's like on the M117, that's a 5.5 liter.
Yep.
It's actually a 5.6. It's closer to 5. By motorsports and tax standards, it's a 5.6.
Why would they do that?
I have no idea.
Why wouldn't they just make it 5,499 cc's?
It is so irritating because like my first like.
Did they just design the engine in clay and they're like, it's perfect?
Yeah.
How many cc is it? That's about 5.5 liters.
Is that much? And that's the thing is like, so my first like month at Bring a Trailer, I kept getting like, I always like see my reports from my editor, like the edits they made, so I can review them and change my life. And they were, and every single one of Mercedes was always, I always had the displacement wrong. Because I'm like, I'm sorry, I round it like every other car on Earth except for Mercedes. So
that's such an automotive thing. It's like this fact excluding this outlier, and
seriously,
that's always existing.
It's always existing, and that outlier is like always like one of three companies. It's always going to be Bentley, Mercedes, or Toyota. Those are the three companies that do an outlier. Because Toyota's the only one that calls their Type 87 relays different names. Mercedes does the stupid thing, and then Bentley does everything Imperial, like a masochist.
Yeah, and it's like
they're displacement only.
Imperial liters.
Yeah, like, Imperial liters. They don't do gallons. They'll do a 4.5 liter. I'm like, what is a 4.5 liter?
Yeah, but
it's a 4.5.
4.5 Imperial liters is like 5 liters.
I know.
I'm just like, what? But no.
That's what I'm talking about. And then like, it gets really weird when you have a Lexus because you'll have something that's a Type 87 Bosch relay, which is a normal relay, but a Lexus will call it like a Type 96 or something. It'll be a different relay, even though a Bosch one will fit in perfectly. Because
that just sounds like it's going to result in car fires.
Well, luckily there's only one relay I'll plug in there because the relay like pins are in different locations, and it's literally
good.
It goes back to some like weird like knockdown kit like some relay company was making in Japan in the '60s, but yeah, weird things like that. So,
I don't like it.
There's always an outlier.
Yes.
I think that should be our bombshell that we end on. This is always an outlier. It's always irritating. And we're always mad.
Make sure you stay ever vigilant of the or similar.
Yeah, the or similar. Oh. I got or similar into a 4.5 liter.
I got or similar into a Toyota relay. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. We will catch you next week.